CATT-NW Season 1, Episode 14. Accessing Accessible Math with JAWS and Microsoft Word.
CATT, Center for Assistive Technology Training Northwest.
So this morning, we have Eli Sanchez is going to show us how to navigate accessible math in Microsoft Word using the equation editor and JAWS. And just a big welcome to everyone. Again, thank you for coming to CATT-NW this week. And I'm going to hand it off to Eli.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Sorry if the audio is a little strange. I'm running on a different computer here with a different mic setup, but we're going to try it out. And I just got new JAWS. We're running JAWS 2026, and I wasn't all successful about carrying over all of the settings. So you're gonna have to excuse me if there's more chatter with JAWS than usual, because I haven't had a chance to adjust the verbosity and all that stuff. All right, so today's setup, again, we're running JAWS 2026 on Windows 11, and today I'm actually running off of a Samsung computer. But hooked to the Samsung computer is our Braille display, the Mantis Q40. So what we're going to be going over today is I'm going to be putting myself in the position of a student. Okay, now keep in mind I was never a good student. So we're gonna look at these documents I have here as if somebody was to send them to me, like a TBI or a teacher or something that was giving me material, and we are going to navigate the documents as well as answer maybe a few of the questions on here, so you guys get to see how good my math skills are. And we're also going to, if we have some time, we're gonna also go and chat about different little nuances that you have to get through in order to have the best success when you're reading these different parts of digital math. And just real quick, I just want to talk about real quick. So when this came about, this whole conversation came about because for the majority of the time that digital math has been around, we tend to grab our Braille note takers, things like a Braille Note Touch Plus, things like Braille Sense, those kinds of devices to do digital math on them. And lately, a lot of features and attention has been put on digital math with screen readers and Windows. So we are just showcasing some of those bits and pieces here. All right, let me share my screen and also some audio for you guys. Let's go ahead, hold on a second, go. Let's see, share sound, there we go, perfect. And perfect. All right.
Looks good, Eli.
Sweet. Perfect. All right, Leslie, can you hear my audio?
Yeah, your audio sounds great.
What about from JAWS?
From JAWS, not so great. Nothing.
Oh, not so great. All right, let me see. Sorry. Let's try that one more time. Let's uncheck the box and check it again.
Screen share.
How's that?
Perfect.
Sweet. All right.
Task switching. Participant.
All right.
Title is CATT-NW Demo Doc.
So you guys might recognize this document from last week. This is Nick's document that I stole.
Top of five.
Just don't tell Nick. Or tell Nick.
X.
It's mine now. He can't take it off my computer. Anyway, so make sure my Let's see, make sure this is
Restore.
maximized for
Close.
you guys here.
Maximize. Leaving menu.
All right. So at the top of this page here.
Top of file. 2x-7 equals 23.
All right. So
2x-7 equals 23.
says 2x-7 equals 23. So if you are reading this math content on the Braille display, I can feel it here on the Braille display, and it says pretty much on the Braille display what it says in the voice. And you can kind of guess in your head as to the dash, right? It's supposed to be a minus.
2x superscript 2n superscript plus y equals 15.
All right, so we got a couple of these expressions up
Math
here.
content 2x minus 7 equals 23.
All right.
Blank.
But see how this one said 2x minus 7, and then the one up here
2x-7 equals 23.
gave us a dash instead of a minus, right? And that's because there was two different ways that you can put in this math. And the second part is kind of the more
2x math content 2
stable version. So it is using the equation editor. So as a student, if I was reading through here, right,
blank.
this piece here,
Superscript equation comma math content. From Leslie Edmonds to everyone. Math content 2x squared plus y equals 15.
so that to me right there reads super nice, right? I hear it in the voice, but I can also read it on my Braille display. And it is, it's already filled in for me here, and I can read it fully. Now, check this out. If I want to break it down some more, I'm going to do insert space.
From Leslie Edmonds, Microsoft Word document, Math Viewer, Equation Navigation. To review the expression, use the arrow keys. Press Insert plus H to list additional commands. 2x squared plus y equals 15.
All right. So this one is purely a viewer for the math. And this one helps a lot as a student, especially if you want to break down larger
Stephanie
pieces of
Hardwick
equation.
has left them.
So if I use my arrows here,
2x squared plus y equals 15.
okay.
Equal 2x squared plus y
Now, if you're noticing, I just press my left arrow one time here.
equals 2x squared plus
and
y.
it reads that whole chunk, right? Let's say I want to get further into that. I want to dissect it a little more. So I'm going to zoom in, they call it. So I'm going to press my down arrow.
2x squared
So now I get even more piece to this. So I know that's 2x squared. I'm going to press my right arrow.
plus
That's a plus sign.
y
Y
equals
equals
15
right? And then I can go the same, so back the other way.
equals 2x squared plus y. 2x squared plus
And I
y.
can zoom in more.
2x squared. 2x squared plus y.
Right, so you can really control how you dissect your equation, and then you can zoom out all the way also by using your up arrow.
2x squared plus y equals 15. 2x squared plus y equals 15.
So now, no matter how many times you press your left or right arrow, you're just going to get the full equation. So let's say I'm going to go out of here.
CATT-NW demo.
Just hit escape to get out of that window. We're going to go down here.
Math content x plus y equals 15. Math content error blank blank. What is the value of x in the equation colon math content 2x plus 6 equals 12?
So let's see if it works in here, because this is a equation that is tied to a bunch of like a word problem, right? So we're going to try this.
Microsoft Word document, Math Viewer, Equation Navigation. To review the expression, use the arrow keys. Press Insert plus H to list additional commands. 2x plus 6 equals 12.
So this is really nice. So we have a bit of a little nuance here. So this gives us our equation that we can dissect, right? But if we come back to the main page here where the word problem lives, I'm going to press my up arrow.
Blank. What is the value of x in the equation colon math content 2x plus 6 equals 12?
So part of the problem we have here is because it is not on its own separate line, right? The equation is tied on the same line to the words that make up the entire problem, right? I actually can't review it piece by piece with JAWS, just because of the limitations that are put in here where it doesn't know how to separate them yet. And if on the Braille display, it also just shows me the first part of the word problem. But But when I pan my braille display to see the second part, it actually doesn't show it on the braille display. And this is where that math viewer really comes in handy, because now I can actually pick apart right here. I'm going to do my left arrow
Two
here.
equation. CHT.
All right, so see, it just skips over
Tango.
that, and I can't read it. So that's where this, here, we'll refresh
Blank.
this.
What is the value?
So then I can do, again, we'll bring up the math viewer.
Math viewer is unavailable. Not on math content.
Whoops.
Edit.
All right, so you got to place the cursor
Blank.
in the right spot.
Question? 2.
Here we go. So then we'll do insert space equals.
Microsoft Word document.
Here we
2x
go.
plus 6 equals 12.
Perfect.
2x plus 6.
So now this really lets me
2x
pick this apart.
plus 6 equals 12.
Perfect. And then I can escape out of this. So now I have a full view as to what is actually going on here.
Tekken 20.
All right. Now what if we want to answer questions, right? So we're going to move to a different document here.
Tasks. Math A11Y Eli dash Word. Math A.
All right. So this is a good one over here. Let me maximize it.
Close. Maximize. Leaving menus. Edit. Julie Jones.
All right.
Top of file. Multiple.
Okay, so this is a little flashback for me here, because Neil McKenzie used to make all of my
Name, dates, blank. Julie
my
Jones.
math content for me when I was in my last year of high school, and I told him to make me one again.
Julie
So this is what he gave me.
Calculate each product or quotient.
Calculate each product or quotient. So this is your typical math worksheet you would get maybe for your elementary kiddos, and now you can answer this. So it's a little more basic.
Math content -88 divided by -8 equals 11.
All right, so that one read, I hope that's the right answer, because I'm pretty sure you divide a negative by negative gives you a positive. So I wrote that in just as a demo for you guys. You can see that you can write in, and then I'll actually do it live here. So we're going to go down a line.
Blank, blank. Math content 11 times -10 equals.
11 times -10 equals. And it told me that there's math content, so I want to answer this, okay? So I'm going to do all equals. I get a little blip telling me that I'm in math mode. I'm going to go to the bottom of I'm at the end of the line here, so I'm going to do end.
End equation.
And it tells me I'm at the end of the equation. I'm going to hit the space bar to give me a gap between my cursor and the
From
equal
Leslie.
sign. And then, so 11 times -10 equals, what is that? -110. So we're going to do -110. Okay. Then I'm going to actually press my down.
Blank.
All right. And then there
Math
we go.
content 11 times -10 equals -110.
So notice sometimes I want to touch on this. So as a JAWS user, I can down arrow,
Blank.
and you guys can see it, and then I up arrow to actually read my line, because JAWS just said blank for me. So I'm going to up arrow.
Math content 11 times -10 equals -110.
So a lot of times when I do that, on the screen visually, it goes away for those that are looking at the screen for me, right? Maybe I'm doing this in partnership with a tutor, or whoever might be supporting me in the classroom. And I just want to point out real quick, so just because you can't see the equation, this is where the listening skills come in with JAWS, because I can hear JAWS speak it, and I can also read it on my braille display. But if I do the end command to go to the bottom of the line, oops.
End equation.
There we go. So, there we go. Now that I did the end command on the screen, you guys should be seeing this whole equation. Leslie, is that true?
Yes. And I love your
Awesome.
point about making sure that we're listening as TVIs and others who are working with the student.
Cool. Yeah, so this is kind of an important thing. I talk about it a lot during our boot camps when we're doing web navigation, and for math navigation and production also the same concept applies. Is just because you can't see it on the screen doesn't mean that JAWS hasn't picked it up or isn't picking it up. You kind of have to do a little bit of wiggling to get it to show on the screen as well as on the braille display and JAWS as well. But for the student that's a JAWS user primarily like me, well, that doesn't make a huge difference, right? But it is something you can walk your students through if you want to make sure that they visually it matches up with what they're reading. Because if I was to do it the other way around,
Blank.
If I'm on the second line, it just says blank. Now my braille display is blank. JAWS said it's blank, but then whoever's looking at my screen can actually see the equation. So it makes things a little more, a little more of a smooth workflow here. All right.
Math content 72 divided by 8 equals.
What else did I?
Blank. Math
I had
content
one
90 divided by
other
9
piece.
equals
Oh yeah,
an equation.
here we go. Perfect. This is it right here. So one of the things that I also want to show real quick is, or actually talk about, is macros. So Ting brought up an awesome point this morning when I was just showing off our little demo here. And one of the things that happens when you get these documents sent to you is you have to allow permissions, right? I talk a lot about the enable editing window that comes up when you open up a document that was emailed to you and you downloaded. And all of these files today were emailed to me, and I downloaded them and I opened them, and now we're running this demo here. Now, if there are macros involved with production of math on this document, if you enable editing and then all of a sudden they disappear, it could be due to some security protocols put in place by your district or whoever's managing that computer. So all that to say that if you do have an issue like that, don't feel like it's your fault that you did something wrong when you're opening these kinds of documents. Sometimes it's a security thing. If you do some macros that are carried over in the document, they are treated differently than just your standard text like what we're seeing here. All of the stuff in this document, it's all just your standard text that was inputted, with the equation editor and other symbols. All right, and with that, I think that's my whole demo. I did a what is that? A Tekken 18? Awesome.
Thank you, Eli.
Yeah.
From Julian
Here, I want to stop my screen share here.
Tekken 20
And hey, since we have 2 minutes,
upper ribbon.
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So Eli, I'm asking a question that I'm guessing might be on other people's
Leaving
minds
menu.
too.
Screen.
Is you mentioned that you've got your Braille display hooked up. Can you talk a little bit about, will any Braille display the math that JAWS is speaking, or do you have to have a particular Braille display?
Yeah. Perfect. Awesome question. So as long as your Braille display is compatible, or as long as you have a driver on your computer that can run a Braille display, so if JAWS recognizes it, it will display any of this math. You don't have to have any special Braille display. I actually get this question a lot because JAWS Freedom Scientific has a lot of articles about digital math in JAWS, and all of their examples are given with the Focus 40, and a lot of people think that's the only one you can use. But today I'm using a Mantis Q40. You can use any Braille display, and as long as JAWS can speak it, it will appear on the Braille display for you.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think we're out of our time. So that's it for today's Tekken 20, where we meow at your tech needs. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll have time for questions and discussion.
CATT, Center for Assistive Technology Training Northwest.
The contents of this video were developed through a partnership with the American Printing House of the Blind, APH. CATT Northwest is based at the Washington State School for the Blind, WSSB. Logos, WSSB and APH. The contents of this video were developed under a contract authorized by the Department of Education. However, these contents do not necessarily represent the policy of the Department of Education, and you should not assume endorsement by the federal government.